394.
Dang.
Yeah, dude, so that's basically double kill on somebody right there. What's up, Guardians? What's up, agents? We're jumping over to some Destiny 2 today. I've realized it's been over 2 years since my last grenade launcher build video. We're going to take it to the next level today. I wanted to actually get into full testing. I wanted to get into the different archetypes. I just wanted to give my opinion of grenade launchers, throw down some facts and some opinions of what I think is how you guys could run grenade launchers. So we're going to have a bunch of damage testing later on. I'm hopefully going to have timestamps for everything down below so you guys can skip ahead. Hopefully you guys will learn something new today, if not be fully entertained. Maybe by the end of this I will have earned your guys subscriptions. Best thing you can do to help my channel is to share this video. If you guys would do anything different, you have any questions, or you got anything that you want to see in the future, leave a comment down below. Alright, so before we really get into it, a couple things. So first of all, we are going to be doing some damage testing later. All that damage testing is going to be done without any buffs other than the intrinsic perks that come with the weapons. Anytime I'm using explosive light, we are going to be showing the numbers without explosive light and then with explosive light, so you guys can see what the damage would be when you do not have it proc. That will be important. Also, I will not be testing all grenade launchers. If there's some grenade launchers that are very similar stat-wise and the perk pools are the same, I'm just going to be testing one of them and that'll transfer over. Also, I'm not going to be testing anything that's locked behind DLC or the raids. If you can get it from the exotic kiosk, that will be most likely either covered directly, or because it's so similar to something else, it'll be covered there. All the testing that I'm going to be doing is going to be against Carl. So Carl is not considered a boss, he's considered a major. We need to talk about the different archetypes of grenade launchers. This is broken down into the main archetypes and then the sub-archetypes. So there's two main archetypes of grenade launchers. There's the breach loading special grenade launchers, and there's the drum-fed heavy grenade launchers. Now, as far as the breach loading, there's two primary types we're going to be looking at. That is the lightweight frame. These are the ones that you fire off. You can release the trigger to detonate on your own. They have the intrinsic +2 mobility, or +20 if you're thinking about stat score. But it'll raise your mobility 2 tiers just having these in your hands. They're rated at 90 RPM, but let's face it, that would be if you'd have a full mag. Because of reloading, none of these are going to fire at the RPM that they display. The next type we're going to be talking about and focusing on will be the wave frame. So this fires out an energy blast along the ground. It's essentially a carpet bomb. This is rated at 72 RPMs. All the wave frames in the game will do the same base damage. Remember, if you are using an exotic version, they will have that bonus 40% damage versus rank and file adds. Now, the one type we're not going to be talking about here is the double fire. This is where it fires out 2 projectiles at a time, rated at 100 RPMs. These are locked behind DLC right now, so we will not be talking about them. Moving on, the second main archetype is the drum fed, and under that we have some sub archetypes. So there's 4 actual sub archetypes of the drum fed. The 2 we're going to be focusing on is the rapid fire and the adaptive frame. Rapid fire is 150 RPM. They have deeper reserves due to the fact that the grenades actually do a little bit less damage than their 120 brothers. Also, when the mag is completely empty, they will get a bonus to the reload speed. Note that if you do have a 150 with Cascade Point, while Cascade Point is active, that RPM will go from 150 up to 250 RPM. Next, let's talk about the adaptive frame. These are the most ubiquitous type of grenade launchers that you will see. 120 RPM, reliable and sturdy. Nothing more that really needs to be said about this. This is the bread and butter of the grenade launchers. There are two other archetypes that need to be mentioned. One is the compressed wave frame. This is a 120 RPM. This fires a large energy burst on the ground, similar to the wave frames in the special. Again, locked behind DLC, we will not be covering. Another type which we will show one version of the damage test is the precision frame. This is a 100 RPM slow firing precision, so it fires a slower grenade that bounces. So much like the lightweight breech loading, you can release to detonate on this guy. There's only two that I have. One is a green uncommon grenade launcher, and the other one is the Sunrise GL4, which is sunset. Both are sunset, locked at 1600 light currently, but I will show those. And they are the worst of both worlds for a myriad of reasons. It doesn't matter, you're not going to be using them for any endgame content anyway. Maybe in the future, Bungie will bring the 100s back into light. Maybe they'll release some. That would be awesome. I'd like to see some 100 RPMs brought back into rotation. So moving on, now we're going to break down all the different perks, the different traits that you can get on your grenade launchers. All right, so first we're going to talk about the barrels. Now, there's two different ways you're going to look at barrels. One is if you have spike grenades. The second is if you do not have spike grenades. If you have spike grenades and you want spike grenades, you're going to want to use hard launch. Hard launch is going to add 15 to your velocity while dropping your stability by 10 and, more importantly, your blast radius by 5. We'll get into blast radius and spike grenades in just a moment here, but anytime you have spike grenades, you are going to want hard launch if possible. Now, if you do not have spike grenades, then you're going to be wanting volatile launch in almost every situation. This will give you plus 15 to your blast radius. It will deduct your handling and your velocity by 5 each. Now, if you do not have volatile or you have spike grenades without hard launch, you can offer linear compensator. Linear compensator will add plus 5 to your blast radius, which you don't want for spike grenades, but it will also add a plus 5 to your stability and your velocity. So if you, again, spike grenades without hard launch, linear comp is okay, but you primarily want hard launch spike grenades. One other acceptable one would be the confined launch, which does raise your blast radius by 10. It raises your stability by 15. It does lower your velocity by 10. This confined launch is actually a great choice if you do not have volatile and you are using proximity grenades. So do consider confined launch if you're for your PvP roles. Now let's talk about the grenade type. PvP, you're going to want proximity grenades. It's the only time I really like proximity grenades. It does lower your blast radius by 20, which is unfortunate because with proximity grenades, you do want to maximize your blast radius as much as possible. Now, for anything but PvP, your first pick is always going to be spike grenades. This adds 50% bonus damage to the direct impact. This is buffed or diminished by your blast radius. Again, we'll cover that in a moment. Spike grenades does add 10 stability, so that is a bonus, especially when it comes to, say, DPS or something like that. All right, let's quickly talk about spike grenades and how they work. So as you guys can see by this fine little graphic on screen, your spike grenade damage is tied directly to blast radius. The less blast radius you have down to a specific threshold increases spike grenade damage. So this is where the hard launch comes in. Hard launch will help to hit these specific numbers you're looking to hit. Now, in the case of the breech loading, it's really easy. If you have spike grenades, you're either going to be at 95 or 100 blast radius. 95 will yield you the 10.8% damage bonus. If you're all the way up at 100 blast radius, it'll drop it to 10.1. So the difference on breech loading is nominal. Now moving to our rapid fires, where we see the most significant difference. Now, it seems counterintuitive, but you want to drop your blast radius down to that 15 blast radius. At 15 blast radius, it'll yield you a whopping 13.9% bonus damage. At 100 blast radius, that'll drop it all the way down to 6.3% bonus. On the adaptive frames, similarly, you want to get it to drop down to that 45 blast radius threshold. This will give you 11.2% damage bonus to that spike grenade. That damage bonus is the overall damage bonus versus not having spike grenades. Sorry about that. It will drop it down to the same 6.3% if you have 100% blast radius. So, real quick, what to aim for: 95 blast radius on breach loading, 15 blast radius on rapid fires, 45 blast radius on adaptive frames. Technically 3 other options. So, in PvP, if you don't have proximity grenades, or even if you do have proximity grenades, but you want a little fun, try sticking grenades. There's nothing more hilarious, or very few things as hilarious, as dropping a sticky bomb right around a corner where you know the enemy's going to come chasing you, sitting there waiting for them to think they're going to come and hand you your ass, and just getting blown across the screen. It's always a beautiful sight. That being said, there's 2 other types of grenades that are permissible. High explosive ordnance will add 10 to your blast radius, will add 5 to velocity while taking 2 away from the mag. If you do not have spike grenades and you have explosive light, this is a great combo to use high explosive ordnance along with explosive light and a backup mag. That'll give you 6 in the mag with most launchers. That's how many charges of explosive light you can carry anyway. So high explosive ordnance is all right. Another okay perk, and this is especially for DPS sort of things if you don't have spike grenades, alloy casing. Alloy casing will add 30 to your reload. It will lower your stability by 10. If you do have that, you'll be able to reload that much quicker and get that many more rounds downrange. Really, spike grenade for PvE every chance you get, proximity grenades for PvP. All right, the real fun, guys, comes in when we get to the 3rd and 4th column perks. So the 3rd column perks is what tend to have our mag perks, our reload perks, and our utility perks. So what are each of those? So mag perks, directly related to the magazine itself. We have 2 that come to mind that are top tier. One is auto-loading holster. You fire off your mag, you swap to another weapon, 2.5 seconds later, bam, your mag is reloaded for you. You're ready to rock and roll. Alternatively, Envious Assassin. Killing enemies with other weapons will increase the mag, and despite what it says, testing shows that you can get up to 300% of your actual mag size. And one of my buddies who has a Marcillion with Envious Assassin threw backup mag on there. I think it was 24 or 25 grenades that he had all in the magazine. So when you're talking about burst damage, nothing is really going to beat Envious Assassin what's capable of. Now, the flip side of that is in between damage phases or whatever you're doing, right? You have to have the chance to kill a bunch of adds to get that beefed up. But when procced up, there's nothing that's going to beat being able to fire off your entire magazine without ever reloading. Now, on that note, the next thing we can look at is actual reload perks. So if you do have to reload, what do you want? Well, there's Clown Cartridge, which upon reloading will overflow your magazine by up to 150%. So in most cases, if you have a backup mag on, so you have 7-round magazine at the 150%, this can kick you up to a total of 11. So you're looking at almost half of your reserves right there. Alternatively, I don't like this perk as much, but you have Ambitious Assassin. Killing enemies with your grenade launcher will overflow the magazine on reload up to 150%. The problem is if ammo is at a premium and you want all your ammo, say it's a drum fed, and you want it for boss DPS, you don't want to be wasting ammo on adds to build up your mag when that's ammo that could be put into the boss. So in this case, Clown Cartridge is even better, but auto-loading holster or Envious Assassin if that is an option. Next, we move on to the utility perks. Things like Impulse Amplifier, which greatly enhances your velocity, basically turns things into a mini, if not basically the equivalent of Mountaintop. Also adds to your reload speed, so I'm a huge fan of Impulse Amplifier. Next, you have Surplus. Surplus, when you have 1 to all of your abilities, charged up, will add reload speed, handling, and stability. So this can act as a reload perk, but also gives other supplementary perks. You have field prep, which will increase your ammo reserves, and if you're crouching, will vastly increase your reload speed. And then one of my favorites, demolitionist. As you kill ads, it will give you grenade energy back. Using your grenade will reload the magazine, and in my case where I'm using void grenades that weaken, that means I can do damage to a boss, toss a grenade to reload my weapon. The boss is actually weakened by the grenade, so now my grenade does more damage, my grenades do more damage, and the team does more damage. So there's great synergy that way. And one last thing to note, and these is to be on the lookout for different variations of rolls where they normally would, like a specific example. I'll just throw this out there. Wendigo can roll chain reaction in the third column. Well, that's a great utility. That gives you the ability to do great ad clearing without sacrificing a better damage perk like, say, Full Court or Explosive Light in the case of Wendigo in your fourth column. So be on the lookout as new grenade launcher comes in. Do these new grenade launchers have perks that are normally fourth column perks in that third column slot? And if so, how can you take advantage of that? That being said, let's move on to the fourth column, or as I refer to it, either our ad clearing or our DPS column. So first, let's talk about ad clearing. So the tried and true ad clear that we've had has been chain reaction. We've had chain reaction for a long time, still works, and one of the top tier perks for ad clearing. More recently, we got things like Chill Clip on the Typhon, where the top half of the magazine will slow combatants. This works extremely well with stasis builds, but even without stasis builds, a couple different shots on the enemies, and you can see the clearing effect, or the crowd control effect rather, that it has. So that works good. We got Incandescent. This would add Scorch, synergizes great with Solar 3.0, and unlike Chain Reaction, Incandescent will blow enemies up. They'll start to burn, and there can be a delayed explosion that can then pass that burn on to more enemies. So while you don't get the immediate necessary explosions the Chain Reaction causes, you can get supplemental and possibly better and more effect with Incandescent. And we also have things like newly introduced destabilizing rounds, where killing ads will effectively add volatile rounds, or that the volatility to all targets around. And so this allows us to create explosions and clear ads similar to Chain Reaction, a little bit delayed, maybe to better effect, but also your teammates do more damage and can proc those explosions. So in a team-based build, would be more beneficial to the team than, say, Chain Reaction would. All right, well, those are well and fun. A lot of you guys aren't going to have problem clearing ads with your special or primary weapons. So what are most people interested in? DPS. What can you do to make your grenade launcher compete with other heavy weapons? So first of all, you have bait and switch. This works extremely well if you happen to have another weapon with bait and switch, and you can kind of get synergy back and forth, especially if you have either or both, or God forbid, all three weapon slots with auto-loading holster, bait and switch. You can basically maintain the 35% damage bonus all the time. So that's great for sustained and burst damage right there. So bait and switch is an option, but you do hopefully have other weapons with bait and switch really to make it worthwhile. So next we have Cascade Point. And as proven with the new Cosmic, Cascade Point can be a top tier perk. Yes, it doesn't add directly to damage, but when you get a 150 grenade launcher all of a sudden firing at 250 RPMs and you can unload your whole mag, God forbid you have something like Envious Assassin and Cascade Point where you can get out half of your mag before you have to swap weapons, take a couple precision shots to reproc it, swap right back and finish firing off the rest of your rounds. I mean, it's just a phenomenal perk. So Cascade Point is a great burst DPS perk. Now we got Explosive Light. Explosive Light is a wonderful perk. And let me just talk about Explosive Light for just a second here. So Explosive Light adds 60% explosive damage to your grenades. So in the case of having spike grenades, right, it doesn't proc the spike grenade damage. But here's the other thing it does. It also adds 100 blast radius. So no matter, even if you have 0 blast radius, your blast radius is instantly maxed out. So what that means is your spike grenades are automatically going to be doing the least amount of damage they do, but it doesn't matter because that 60% damage is only added to the explosive damage, which is tied to your blast radius. So no matter what, you're going to be maxing out your damage. Real quick to talk about some numbers. Max numbers, you can see the 120 RPMs. If you have spike grenades and explosive light, you'll be looking to see 14,214 damage without any other damage buffs from the spike grenade, 70,153 from the explosion. So that's going to be 84,367 damage per grenade with explosive light and spike grenades. The 150 RPM, same layout, spike grenades and explosive light, you're going to get 8,159 from the grenade, 60,483 from the explosion. That's 68,642. So this is by far the largest damage bonus you're going to get, far outweighing bait and switch even. However, you do have to have explosive light to get that damage bonus. Keep in mind also you can only hold 6 explosive light charges at one time. Next we got full court. So full court, it says that it increases your explosive damage based on the distance the grenade travels. As testing has found, that's not true. It's based on the travel time. So what you can do to maximize the damage of full court is drop your velocity down. The longer it takes to get to the target, the more damage it racks up. So that's one way you can amplify the damage of full court, is simply dropping your velocity. Now, one other one that we're not going to see in any of the testing we do here, but a tried and true old favorite for DPS, is Rampage. This can stack up to a 33% damage bonus. All you got to do is kill a couple ads, and you got that Rampage bonus rocking for a while. And depending on what sort of boss you're fighting, if they have ads around, it may not be too hard to fire a grenade, get Rampage 1, 2, 3 stack, and then lay everything else into the boss. So just food for thought if you don't have anything better. Now we should definitely talk about some synergies, because what it really comes down to is how do we maximize the utility of our grenade launcher or the DPS of our grenade launcher between the second and third column. So there's 4 types of synergies we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at ad clearing, we're going to be looking at sustained damage, we're going to be looking at burst damage, and then we're going to see what sort of hybrid can we do to get the best of the both worlds without compromising too much. So first of all, let's talk about ad clear. Ad clear is really easy. You're going to want a mag or reload sort of perk, your auto-loading holster, clown cartridge, envious assassin sort of thing, and then you're going to want to add an ad clearing perk. Chain reaction, destabilizing rounds, incandescent, maybe chill clip. But you want something that's going to take out groups of ads quickly. Now, for our sustained damage, you're going to want something like auto-loading holster, again, clown cartridge, demolitionist, envious assassin is more for the burst damage, although it would work here too, of course. But as far as your damage perk in the 4th column, really you're going to be looking at either bait and switch, if you have other weapons with bait and switch, or full court. You can use explosive light, again, because it's sustained damage. You're only going to have the 6 shots with explosive light, then they're going to be gone, and then you have to find a way to proc explosive light. So in this case, I do think for sustained damage, bait and switch or full court is going to be a better option. Then you got your burst DPS. This is where, of course, the envious assassin will kick in. If you don't have envious assassin, I think clown cartridge is the way to go. You're going to be looking at cascade, explosive light, or full court. This is where explosive light really is going to kick ass, especially if you're in a team where you're going to have team members creating orbs of light around you. because what you can do is fire off your entire arsenal of explosive light and reload. In my case, do the dodge reload, or use your class ability to pick up all the orbs. If you have powerful attraction, right, it'll pull in all those orbs. Those orbs will give you explosive light back, and then you can keep firing. So in my case, as a Void Hunter, I literally do my dodge reload. It reloads, everything pulls in all those orbs, and I'm back on explosive light. But we have a new king, the new king of burst DPS, and we will probably see this with other new launchers coming forward, but it's the Cosmic. With the Spike Grenade, there's an argument for Clown Cartridge, but I like the Impulse Amplifier. It has that extra reload speed, and I don't have to adjust for trajectory. With the Impulse Amplifier, I aim at the target and I fire off. So what do? I proc Cascade Point with a couple shots of any primary weapon. All you need is 3 or 4 precision hits. You'll see Cascade Point proc, swap over, and unload. Cascade Point ultimately is going to do substantially more damage than even Explosive Light will do if you have a Void Hunter and you can do my aforementioned method of putting all those rounds down range. Still, the sheer number of grenades that you're going to put down range far outweighs the amount of bonus damage you're going to do from Explosive Light in the burst damage category. Now, lastly, we could talk about hybrids, and first of all, I'll talk with just something you can try to do, and this is a great way if you want to use a utility hybrid grenade launcher. Look for something with spike grenades and demolitionist, and then either chain reaction, destabilizing rounds, chill clip, or incandescent. Chain reaction is best for arc, destabilizing rounds for a void launcher, incandescent for a solar launcher. Now, what is the king of the hill for the hybrids? It's going to have to be the Wendigo right now. They may come out with some other launchers that do this, but Wendigo, you can roll hard launch, spike grenades, chain reaction in the 3rd column, and explosive light or full court in the 4th column. Either, that is the king. I have not gotten that roll yet, but once I do, it's going to, even though I run with the Void build, it's going to be hard not to use that, as that does everything. You got the ag clear from the chain reaction, and then either explosive light or full court. Both of those will buff the damage of the chain reaction. So that's a win-win. So if you guys have a Wendigo with full court or explosive light and then chain reaction, hold onto that thing. That's an amazing launcher. Okay, as far as the Masterworks, if you have spike grenades, then you want to avoid the blast radius. You want to look for either velocity or handling. If you do not have spike grenades, blast radius Masterwork will be the king. There is an argument for velocity if you feel like your blast radius is high enough. But yeah, blast radius would be best unless you have spike grenades. As far as mods, user's choice. Backup mag is usually the king unless you happen to be using explosive light and you happen to hit 6 in the mag without using backup mag, in which case I think boss spec and major spec would be the 2 go-tos if you already have 6 in the mag. Quick access sling and Icarus grip can also be beneficial. Alright, before we get into the damage, I just want to go over a couple fun facts. So first of all, I just want to reiterate that while proximity is preferred for the Crucible, sticky grenades are funny as fuck to stick them around a corner, watch somebody come around and blow themselves up. Proximity grenades are great for PvP, but 2 reasons why you don't want to use them in PvE. 1, you never want to use proximity grenades on breach loading because the breach loading are remote detonation. So no matter what, you're going to do better off remote detonating or just firing them directly into your targets. The main reason you don't want to use proximity grenades in PvE is because any enemies that are within the blast radius of the grenade when you fire it, aka the proximity detection, it will go off immediately. There's no travel time before it arms. So I've died so many times because there's an ad behind me. I fire and my proximity grenade say, oh, we want to go off. It go off immediately upon launching and you die. So Well, maybe there's an argument to use threat detector as your third column perk, just so you know when it's time to jump up in the air before you fire. And lastly, learn to hip fire. If you're aiming a grenade launcher, you're really doing it wrong. Now, the one argument would be Cascade Point and Boss DPS, and that's because you're more than likely going to be aiming down sights already with a primary weapon to proc Cascade Point. So, but yeah, 99% of the time with grenade launchers, you're going to want to be hip fired. All right, so I think it's time to get into the damage. We're going to quickly talk about this. I'm going to go through. I'll probably give a couple little thoughts here and there, but for the most part, we're just going to sail on through. This is long. Again, hopefully I had the frame of mind to put timestamps down below. I know there's a lot of them. All right, dudes, as we go through this testing, I'm going to quickly insert some thoughts on things I think need to be brought up. First of all, talking about the Wither Horde, or as I like to refer to the Whore. It's great. She does a decent amount of damage on a direct hit, and then you can double dip by putting a puddle. The puddle does half as much damage as a direct hit, but will kill multiple adds or damage multiple adds at one time. The disorienting grenades, while they do the least amount, tend to be very utility minded and great for things like the Grandmaster Nightfall, things like that. If things cannot see you, if they cannot effectively shoot you, your survivability goes up quite a bit. So while the Exodus has a seeming low damage rate, the fact that you never have to reload it, and as you get enraged, it fires faster and faster. It's actually a decent weapon for, well, it's a decent multi-purpose weapon. Oh, the good old Fighting Lion. You'll never run out of ammo. That's all I can really say about that. In my opinion, the number one perk that you can pair with blinding grenades has to be Danger Zone, as it just picks up the entire radius of the blind. So all the wayframes, except for the exotics, will do that 29,137 to the elite enemies. The exotics get that 40% exotic bonus. So yeah, this is what they do. Love and death with the proximity grenades. It's funny. It's basically like having a full auto breach loading with chain reaction. All right, quickly, you guys will notice there's a damage difference between the salvagers, the Truth Teller, and the Orwins when there shouldn't be, and that's due to the 95 blast radius versus 100 blast radius. And you can see that Orwins has just a little more damage because of the 95 blast radius. So now that we're back up to 100 blast radius, we're going to expect to see just under 37,000 damage. We'll show this again later, but just to show you guys what multi-kill clip times 3 can do. Alright, just for completion, I wanted to show you guys the only legendary 100 RPM precision frame that we have access to, at least that I have access to. This thing is the worst of both worlds. It fires slower and does less damage than any of its competition. And you have to aim and release and to detonate. It's just terrible. Just terrible, but there you go. Yeah. This is just absolutely the worst. I mean, it's fun to you know, check it out and know they exist, but yeah. Alright, my Swarm is my favorite utility launcher right now. The spike grenades mixed with demolitionists, mixed with destabilizing rounds, makes great ad clearing and also does decent DPS. At the moment for arc grenade launchers, there's no equivalent of volt shot for grenade launchers, so chain reaction still is the go-to perk for our arc grenade launchers for ad clearing situations. The Marcillion synergizes really well with Solar 3.0 builds with the incandescent. And this one is great for ad clear as well as some decent DPS. Decent. Here's the 120 RPM version of an arc launcher with chain reaction. While its damage per grenade is low, this is the king of burst DPS with the hard launch, the impulse, the cascade. Just look at that rate of fire. I don't need to say anything. Look at that. Look at that. Crowd Pleaser was my go-to for a long time, and I have an older one with surplus and chain reaction that has over 22,000 kills on it. I like it. But
you may ask yourself, does it clear ads?
Now, an interesting thing about the proximity grenade, a cosmic with explosive light, is while it says that it only does 60% bonus damage, you guys can see it does almost double the damage in the proximity grenade iteration. So because we lose out on the spike grenade, somehow the calculations, so you can actually feel decent about using proximity grenades with explosive light, that you're not losing too much damage versus the spike variation. Although you do lose a bit. All right, this interference is the only version of full court we're using, but you guys can see that full court does bring us up in the DPS category. Unfortunately, it lacks in the ag clearing. All right, the first of our grenade launches to hit 60,000 is our Truth Teller with multi-kill clip times 3. And the funny thing is you guys see, this suddenly puts this breech loading grenade launcher well above the majority of our drum feds. Quick note that while the Truth Teller with multi-kill clip times 3 does over 60,000, with full void buffs, you're looking at over 90,000 damage from this special grenade launcher. All right, this is my tough sell right now, is between my Swarm of the Raven and my new Cosmic with spike grenades, clown cartridge, and explosive light. It's tough. Let me know what you guys think. Which one would you go with? All right, this Typhon with proximity shows just how much damage we are capable of with the adaptive frame and explosive light and proximity grenades. The fact that it almost doubles the damage and kicks us up over the 70,000 K mark, you know, it's all right. Remember, this makes it that much easier to kill yourself if ads are within the vicinity of you, though. And lastly, I wanted to show high explosive ordnance. Here's our Wendigo with high explosive ordnance and explosive light. You guys can see we're kicked up over 76,000. All right, quickly we're going to go ahead and just show what happens if we start adding some buffs to the Cosmic with the explosive light. So if I go ahead and I throw in 3 Void Surge mods and we incorporate all the other class bonuses, the damage bonuses from the artifact and such, what kind of damage do we hit? All right, on top of that, let's throw in a tether now. All right, one other thing we have to look at just because this would not be a comprehensive guide without it, is the Parasite. And so we have the Parasite without any damage bonus. Alright, let's add 5 kills times 5 Worm's Hunger. Okay, now let's add in the full Worm's Hunger times 20. Alright, as they say in Tropic Thunder, let's go full retard. We're going to throw on 3 Solar Surge mods as well. Can we break 400,000 damage? Ooh, that's looking good. Looking good. Luckily, Rassilon hit tier 8 resilience and agreed to let us kill him a bunch of times to get this footage. So thanks a lot, Rassilon. So this is the 120 with proximity grenades. All right, here we go.
I don't have wave on.
So that was 221 right there.
You gained the lead.
Okay. 227. So it went from 221 to 227.
That's it.
Bam. 233. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to swap this over to sticky grenades. So first of all, I'm going to put this one on the ground. Go ahead, walk into it.
Okay.
231, okay. 238, all right. So now, bam, 243. Nice, dude. Okay, now I got to try the Wendigo.
I do like that they made it available for focusing.
All right, so there's that same 221, but I didn't see the spike grenade hit. $246. All right. Okay, so now it's the fun part. Now I'm gonna just work on the Cosmic. Okay. So they're 163, but it was still enough to kill you because of the spike grenade. 325 with that, dude. So explosive light, I do have it. 333 damage with that, bro, from a 150. You only really need, I take it back, you only really need like 1 surge mod to really make that difference. Alright, this is our proximity grenade version, and we'll see how much damage this does in comparison. Alright. Oh wow, that was only 161 on that. Alright. 325. Dude, 161 goes up to 325 just by having explosive light, bro.
The doubles. That's right.
Alright, good timing. 333, dude. 330. So that's the same as with the spike with this, dude. Now, I'm sure we got the spike grenade damage on top of it, but explosive light fucking basically handles everything except for the fact that you don't have spike grenades on, or that it doesn't make the impact. That's fucking amazing. Okay, so Swarm. This is it. Okay, so this is no buff at all. Okay, wow, dude. Okay, here we go. Last one as far as I could tell. Here we go.
Hell yeah.
All right, so two more kills. 228 on that. All right. So we're trying to be, I think, 330 or 348, I think, is what we hit. I think somehow we hit 348 with. Okay. 394.
Dang.
Yeah, dude, so that's basically double kill on somebody right there. You know, we tested procs, we tested spike, tested full court, we tested explosive light. The Wendigo had chain reaction, we got to see that. We tested the different void surges.
You got stickies.
We tested the sticky. That, by the way, the sticky was awesome, dude. I still think the sticky is one of the funniest fucking things, dude. It's just...
Yeah, I think that's basically all the physics that I could think about. The only one that did not kill me was the 161.
Let me give some final thoughts now on what I think the best way to run this is, I think, to look for a good grenade launcher with hard launch and spike grenades. Figure out what sort of third column perk that you like the best, and then either go with full court if you just want some no-brainer damage, or go with explosive light if you're not having any problems making orbs, picking up orbs, and if orbs are plentiful. If you get the chance to get a Wendigo, or you happen to have a Wendigo with the chain reaction and either full court or explosive light, even if it doesn't have spike grenades, that's just going to be a great launcher across the board. And then just try to find something that synergizes with, you know, if you're void, do you have a launcher with destabilizing? If you're solar, do you have one with incandescent? Those sort of things, you know. Chill clip, if you run stasis builds, chill clip can actually work really good. So just figure out what works best for you. And if you really want that burst DPS, I know we can't get the Cosmic anymore, but hopefully there will be a launcher that can get you the Cascade Point. Get you a Cascade Point launcher. That's really what it comes down to. Preferably the 150 Archetype, so that way you can just plow through it that much faster. You have the deeper reserves, the faster reload when you're on empty, and just see if it works for you. All right, thank you so much for making it all the way through this. So those are my thoughts and my opinions on grenade launchers. That's what we got from our empirical studies. You guys will notice that really grenade launchers can be a lot of fun if you learn to use them. There's very few weapons that can do as much damage as quickly without getting into the exotics. So do me a favor, if you guys enjoyed this, you guys learned something new, a like would be greatly appreciated. Hopefully by now I will have earned your guys subscriptions. Best thing you can do to help my channel, share this video. Anything that I missed, anything you guys want to see in the future, leave a comment down below. Alright, you Guardians, be as safe as you need to be out there, and I will check you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.